Hello there, welcome to ITV News Meridian.
Tonight's headlines in the Thames Valley.
3, 2, 1.
Paddington comes home. The little bear from Peru back on his bench in Newbury after an adventure he'd rather forget.
Little one loves Paddington. It's the only thing that he eats is marmalade sandwiches at nursery.
Outrage in a Hampshire village over plans for a solar farm near a conservation area. People in Long Sutton say it makes no sense.
Also tonight, calls for more children to take swimming lessons and not give them up too soon so they can stay safe around water.
And supporting his parents who both have cancer, Louis laces up for the London Marathon. Good evening. A statue of Paddington Bear that was vandalised and stolen has returned to Newbury. The statue was ripped from a bench by 2 RAF engineers after a drunken day at the races last month.
But today, the beloved bear with his marmalade sandwich returned home and was unveiled in front of cheering crowds. And Natalie Verney is there for us this evening. And Natalie, the best news, the best story, and he looks certainly as good as new.
He certainly does, doesn't he? I think he looks actually a little bit fresher than he did before. It's so good to see him sat on his bench with his marmalade sandwich in his hand. Now, I knew that Newbury loved Paddington, but the number of people who turned up this morning still took me by surprise.
It felt like the whole of Newbury turned out this afternoon. Some people had even travelled as far as Bristol. Others waited for an hour to make sure they got a good view. Marmalade sandwiches handed out at the ready. The countdown could begin.
3, 2, 1.
I just want to see Paddington back again. I'm really sad what happened to him.
He's very traditional to our family and he's a very special part.
Little one loves Paddington. It's the only thing that he eats is marmalade sandwiches at nursery because of Paddington.
And I think it's great for all the children because they did miss him.
5 weeks ago, Paddington Bear was ripped from his bench and stolen by 2 RAF engineers after a night out. These CCTV pictures capture the moment they made off with him. They've since been convicted, given community orders and ordered to pay towards the cost of his repair. In the days after he was taken, there was public outrage. Local people placed marmalade jars and sandwiches next to what was left of him. So today was the moment they'd all been waiting for.
We've missed him, haven't we?
Yeah!
We have. Made you sad, didn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's awesome. Love Paddington. My husband's lived in Newbury all his life and yeah, it's really lovely to see him back.
Local school children took part in the celebrations and even the police made sure they were there too.
It caused a lot of public outrage and it upset a lot of people, and I think that's why it's really important. You can see the community are absolutely so pleased that he's back, especially for children and families as well. So it is a really positive thing and it just shows that community strength in Newbury.
A happy day with Paddington now back where he belongs.
Well, Andrew Marmot manages the shopping centre here. Andrew, he looks amazing. How much work went into his repair?
A lot of work went into his repair. He's been back to the original manufacturers who have put him back together and have sent him back to us better than ever.
I can't see any damage on him at all. Were you as surprised as I was with how many people showed up this morning?
We knew there was a lot of love for Paddington in Newbury, but even we were amazed by the size of the crowd that came out to welcome him back to his bench.
It really was amazing, wasn't it? Well, there was this really cute little post box which was sat next to Paddington earlier, and that was so people could post their welcome back letters to him. And I can see you have a little pile there. Are we allowed to read a couple?
Absolutely.
Brilliant. So this one is ever so sweet. Look at that amazing picture of Paddington there. And inside it says, "Dear Paddington, welcome back. I am really, really sorry for you. It must have really hurt. I'm really glad you're back. When I heard you'd been stolen, I was very worried." I think we all were very worried actually, weren't we? And I think we've got time for one more. This one is very fancy. "Paddington, welcome home." And inside we've got a pop-up with a a jar of marmalade, and it says, Paddington, we missed you deeply, and we wanted to remind you that children and adults around the world love you just like me. Love, your #1 fan. Well, I think that sums up exactly how we're all feeling here today. Paddington is home, and we're all very happy about it.
Natalie, that is just lovely, and just lovely to see how many people turned out today and how much he really is loved. Really is beautiful. Natalie, thank you so very much indeed.
Let's get some other news now. And a man from Oxford has been charged in connection with a stabbing in Blackbird Leys Park on Sunday, where a 17-year-old boy suffered serious injuries to his face and body. An 18-year-old man also arrested on suspicion of GBH with intent in connection with Sunday's incident and attempted murder in connection with a previous incident in Fries Hill Park on the 25th of March remains in police custody.
Now, plans to build a solar farm near to a Hampshire village have been approved.
Residents in Long Sutton, which is south of Odium, say they're in favour of green energy, but not when it ruins historic villages.
Well, the developers say the site will provide clean electricity for thousands of homes every year. Sally Simmons has more.
A vast open field of rape bathed in sunshine today. An enclosed footpath squeezed between swathes of solar panels tomorrow. That's the reality facing the residents of Long Sutton.
So where we're stood right now, we will be surrounded on both sides by solar panels and fencing up to 8 foot high. So for those dog walkers who come here every day to enjoy what we call the Big Prairie, they'll be walking down a tunnel, an industrial tunnel with fencing on both sides.
Surrounding their village, 260 acres, around 125 football pitches worth of solar panels will be built starting in 2 years' time. Despite 95% of the residents signing up to the action group and the parish council opposing the solar farm, Hart District Council have approved the scheme, which will be in place for the next 40 years.
I don't know whether it means that people will move away. I couldn't say that, but certainly it's going to change the character of the village, and not for the better, I think.
The developers say the solar farm will supply electricity to nearly 19,000 houses, and that they consulted with the local community to ensure the project was designed sensitively. Born and brought up 3 miles away, one cafe owner says it will benefit some.
Business-wise, I think we'll do very well out of it. There'll be a lot of extra people working in the area. They'll want to come and use our facilities, so we'll be very fortunate in that respect. Yes, it is a bit of a blot on the landscape.
This is going to be spoilt for everyone, not only for the village, but for people that come and use these footpaths from miles around.
Yeah. You can see that this is absolutely beautiful, prime agricultural land.
The issue is not whether it is a good form of energy. The issue is simply whether this is a suitable site. And the short answer is no.
Residents say other sites should have been considered. Their only option left is an expensive judicial review. Sally Simmons, ITV News, Long Sutton.
Reading Football Club, who celebrated victory last night at Shrewsbury Town, have updated fans about ongoing attempts to sell the club. A statement says the current exclusivity period with a prospective buyer has now expired, and the club representatives are now in advanced talks with an alternative bidder. Well, meanwhile, on the pitch last night, Reading sent 3 goals past bottom place Shrewsbury to move themselves back up into the playoff positions.
It's an ongoing saga, isn't it?
It very much is,
I'm sure
yes.
the fans really just want an end to it all,
Yes.
know what's going on. We are watching ITV News Meridian in the Thames Valley. We're very glad you're with us this evening. Lots more to come, including the small independent museums worrying about their future with fewer visitors and tighter finances.
More from us, of course, online. All the details are on the screen. There's the website, the phone number, and you can, of course, follow us across social media.
Well, the ITV Evening News continues with the national and international news at 6:30 with more Lucrezia Millarini.
Coming up on the evening news, a full-blown trade war breaks out as China retaliates against President Trump's latest tariffs with another 84% tariff of its own. Good news for theme park lovers. Universal Resort is coming to the UK. And the King and Queen mark their 20th wedding anniversary on tour in Italy. Join me for those stories and more at 6:30.
Now, Swim England says far too many people aren't confident enough when swimming, and it's getting worse, they say. More parents are taking their children out of lessons too soon.
Well, some families say swimming lessons are just too expensive. But Swim England says ensuring children can enjoy water activities safely is money well spent. Chris Conway has more.
For these children, time in the pool learning to swim is one of their favourite lessons.
If I ever fell into a river, I would know how to survive. I get to learn different things, like new things and things that I could never do. We got to dive in.
Parents in Crawley agree lessons are invaluable.
Will help for any fitness for them, and wherever they sort of go in life, if they want to go on holiday, there's always going to be water around, so it's all about water safety and making sure they can actually save their lives.
So I work around water, and he spends a lot of time around water as well, or at the seaside, so it's quite important that he's got the ability to swim. He's always been very confident around water, so I wanted to make sure that he could be safe as well.
But it seems not all parents share the same beliefs. Research by Swim England found that almost 3/4 of children don't achieve 4 water safety competencies, while more than half of children stop lessons before mastering basic skills, such as treading water for 30 seconds. The majority of parents surveyed believed that a child being able to swim 20 metres was competent enough. Swim England say for safety reasons, that distance should be 100 metres.
We would say that stage 7 is where we would define you as a competent swimmer. A lot of children and a lot of parents pull their children out at stage 4.
Caitlin is the pool manager. With lessons grouped in stages, she says cancelling too soon can be dangerous.
They've not learnt the sort of saving skills, they've not done the swimming with clothes, so if there was any danger, if they were walking near a lake or something and they fell in, you haven't learnt the skills yet to then pull yourself out, you haven't learned the life-saving skills to get yourself out of those situations, which is why we would say stage 7 typically is what we would define as a competent swimmer.
With many families facing increased financial pressure and the average charge for a weekly swimming lesson now costing parents around £7.50 per child, Swim England accepts learning to swim can be expensive.
Somebody on an average wage right now, it's really, really difficult. But please understand, these are the competencies that are required, we think, to keep your child safe so they can have great experiences in water, they can be safe in and around water. So it's about choices, difficult choices, but we think this is the choice that most parents would want to make.
Swim England say their focus is not to create future Olympic swimmers, but rather to ensure generations of children will be safe in the water. Chris Conway, ITV News.
See, I'm not a very confident swimmer.
No?
No, I was very good at jumping in, getting
Right.
out again, jumping in, getting out again. I did that many, many times, but actually swimming...
I used to do the old school lessons. We had to get the brick from the bottom of the pool
gosh,
and wear your
really?
pyjamas and make a float out of your pyjamas.
Are you sure they weren't just having you on?
I don't think it was just me. I think there were other people there. But it was a long time ago. Who knows? Anyway.
Who knows? Anyway, well, the Easter holidays are here and many families will be looking for places to visit for a day out. That might include a local independent museum. But new research suggests a lot of those museums are worried about their future.
Well, in a survey, 3 out of 5 small independent museums say they're worried that they may have to close because of declining visitor numbers and revenue. As a result, many are having to cut back on opening hours and activities on offer. Kevin Ashford reports.
You do obviously the usual four candles comedy,
yeah.
That's for the comedy purposes.
Milestones Museum in Basingstoke has been bringing history to life for a quarter of a century, and unlike many other museums, is doing well in a challenging environment.
We're a regional attraction, and living history museums like this are in a good place actually. Where I am concerned is in the smaller community museums, perhaps in more isolated rural communities and towns. Traditionally these museums have relied on funding from local authorities, which has gone down in England by 40% since 2010. And for these smaller museums, then yeah, the future is definitely going to be a struggle.
And this emergency services museum is certainly feeling the financial squeeze.
We're in an extremely different world now to where we were 10 years ago. So obviously independent museums, they rely heavily on door takings, secondary spending, your gift shop and your cafe. I think across the entire sector we're noticing a drop in that secondary spend as well.
It is a challenging climate for smaller museums. In a recent survey, 4 out of 5 said these were the toughest times they've ever faced, with visitor numbers yet to get back to pre-COVID levels. And 3 out of 5 said they feared possible closure. Around 500 museums have closed since the beginning of the century. A charity that works to get more youngsters into museums says they play an important role.
Families, school trips, most of those are to local museums. Children need to go to museums for learning, for well-being, for civic participation. If those opportunities are taken away in their local area, fewer and fewer children will go to museums. And already about 4 in 10 don't go to a museum in a year. And that figure could get worse if these museums start to disappear.
People are being urged to consider experiencing a bit of local history this Easter as a way of supporting independent museums. Kevin Ashford, ITV News.
Such a shame if we lose some of those museums, though. I like the sort of living museums. You get to look at life in years gone by.
Yeah, because they give you so much. I mean, just to be involved in it all, just to see that past. We shouldn't lose that history.
The kids want buttons, though, interactivity. All
exactly. This AI, I shouldn't say that, but AI.
Don't say it out loud. Don't say it. Now we're going to move on because a man who says he can't remember a time in his life when cancer wasn't part of the family says he's been inspired to run the London Marathon.
Yes, Louis Rehman from Marchwood in Hampshire was at infant school when his mum was diagnosed, and now his dad is undergoing treatment, making Louis determined to raise money for the people who've helped them. Andrew Pate has his story.
For Louis, running the London Marathon is personal. His father is currently undergoing chemotherapy for testicular cancer. Well, Louis was just 5 when his mum was first diagnosed. A few years later, the breast cancer returned, and they were told it was terminal.
Being in school and hearing from my mum firsthand that the cancer she has actually is incurable, and it will be something that she takes her life. It was really, really hard, and not only for me but the family too. And that's why I think that the research is so important, because I want as much time that I can with my mum as possible, really.
Mum Heidi and Louis have been given a tour of the Cancer Research UK laboratory at Southampton General Hospital.
And then within our clinical trials, we'll collect samples, and we'll send the samples back up here in the laboratory for the discovery team to really understand who benefits the most from the new treatments, or even who doesn't benefit, because if we can prove you don't benefit from the treatment, we can give alternative treatments for that particular patient.
My mum, I remember her sitting me down, telling me that maybe not be around when I'm 20, 21 years old, and being 23 now and having my mum still in the family is absolutely amazing. And I know that is because of the research being done, the new medication, the new treatment, and that is the reason why my mum is here.
You put your trust in people, and to see it today was mind-blowing. And for me, it's been the difference of seeing milestone moments like Louis finishing school, Louis finishing university, doing the marathon that, probably 20 years ago I wouldn't have had that opportunity.
Louis says thinking of his parents will spur him on when running the London Marathon. But how will they feel when he crosses the finish line?
Tearjerker.
Yes, I reckon so, eh? Yeah, very proud. I'm sure it'll be emotional, yeah. I'm sure he'll be absolutely...
Just so proud, and no doubt have, I don't know, sweets at the ready or something ready to catch him. But yeah, it's going to be a lovely family moment for us all to see him run through that finish line.
The London Marathon is on April the 27th, and Louis is determined to take part, to make a difference. Andrew Pate, ITV News.
And we wish you, Louis, all the best. Well done to you for doing that. It really is a challenge ahead of you, so well done. And we wish the family well done as well.
Now, talking of amazing people, we want you to meet Ken Galton, a Hampshire man who's been given royal recognition for making wooden hurdles for almost 3/4 of a century. He collected his British Empire Medal for services to Hazel, Coppicing and heritage crafts. The hurdles, which were originally designed to fence in sheep, are made from sustainable hazelwood, and at nearly 90, Ken is still going strong. Lucy Warhurst met him in the village of Southwark near Fareham to see how it's done.
Pull tight against that sail and just lifting them over.
Like that?
Well, yes, I feel like you're not supposed to break it.
Oh.
You're supposed to.
Well, I was trying.
You're supposed to twist it.
Hey, in 70 odd years, I might be all right. Lucy having a go that I'm not sure Ken will actually ask her back to help him, you know.
I mean, you could say she fell at the first hurdle. Oh, dear. Sorry.
Another character,
Anyway.
of course, not only Matt, but Ken as well. You can hear more from him and hear about his work in the ancient craft of hurdle making in a very special interview on ITVX. It's all on our streaming service. On the left, scroll down to categories. Then at the top, click on news, go down and find your local region, which is, of course, Meridian. And there you can see our extended feature, that and so much more for you as well. And Ken's obviously very popular with the Royals as well, because he's been invited by the King to a garden party at Buckingham Palace in May. How wonderful is that?
That is brilliant.
It really is.
Yeah.
He deserves that.
And also kind of recognising those rural
Yeah.
country crafts as well. My granddad used to make hedges, not quite like that, but he used to do all that kind of stuff.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, good. Maybe he should go to, or could have gone to Buckingham Palace.
Yes,
Just
maybe.
in spirit.
Yeah, should have done. Right, let's get a check on the weather forecast with the details for us tonight. Here's James.
A breezy morning will be followed up with a flurry of fresh delights for lunch. TUI sponsors ITV Meridian weather.
Hello there, good evening. So we've had a bit of a mixed bag today with some cloud but plenty of sunshine. It's going to continue to be warm, but there is a change through the weekend. We're going to start to see a bit of a dip in temperatures. You can see these fronts moving through, mainly showers. So the proper return of April showers, which we normally expect at this time of year. We end the day with plenty of clear skies around. As the temperature dips away, we start to see this encroachment of cloud once again. Not particularly low, but it's certainly going to act in stopping things getting too chilly. Cool rather than cold, with those of 4 to 6 Celsius on the whole, maybe a little bit cooler out across parts of Dorset. Tomorrow morning then, it'll sort of keep pushing a little bit, then as the sun gets a bit stronger, it'll start to nibble away. Looks as though it might take a fair while to do so, but eventually it will clear into the evening. And where you get a prolonged spell of sunshine, we could get up to 16 or 17 Celsius. We might struggle to get to 14 and 15, just depending upon how quickly that sunshine clears. Hopefully some more in the way of sunshine from the word go, with the high pressure on top of us. So 19 to 21 Celsius up towards the Thames Valley. There might be a tad cooler on Saturday, maybe a bit more cloud, and you can see what's heading our way for the back end of the weekend. Have a good evening.
TUI sponsors ITV Meridian weather.
Well, in just a moment, the ITV Evening News with Lucrezia Millarini.
James Wright is back with our late update this evening, just after... Sorry, James Dunham. James will have the weather. James
Yes.
Dunham will have the news later on. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.